Welcome to the Militia Gaming Community. I'm Trigger Militia, and I'm back with another video in the series I like to call You Are Using the Wrong Engine. In this video, I'm testing the engine offerings of the 2019 Ferrari 488 Pista. Let's go! Alright, before we get into the video, I know a lot of YouTubers spend time asking for subs and likes, but I do things a little bit different, and I want to use this time to thank you for simply clicking on my video. I'm sure there were plenty of other Need for Speed videos you could have watched today, so thank you so much for watching mine. Also, let's once again raise a barks to all the subscribers. Thanks for watching another one of my videos. It really means the world to me. Okay, if you haven't watched any of my engine videos before, the reason I make them is because when you go to swap to another engine, the game doesn't allow you to compare the different engine options in a fully built state with all Ultimate Plus parts. Choosing an engine seems a bit random, even though you could look at the base stats and that kind of gives you an idea, but you still don't know for sure. Not only that, but the engines are hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I've bought every single engine for this 488 Pista and proceeded to build each one with the highest tier parts possible, and then I repeatedly tested each engine on 2 different races and recorded the results to see which one was faster and more well-rounded. Now if you're wondering how to get the 488 Pista, it is arguably one of the hardest cars in the game to acquire. You have to 3-star all of the activities like the jumps, the drifts, and the speed traps, and then you have to collect every single collectible on the map. This takes hours. It took me several game sessions to finally unlock this car, and then I had to build it and test each engine on these 2 courses. This was a very time-consuming video. Anyway, let's just go ahead and get into it. Just like the last engine video, I tested each engine with all Ultimate Plus parts, the dual turbo, and the 5x3 pound NOS option. Again, I know there's really no perfect way to test these engines because some of the races are better for superchargers or single turbo setups, so keep that in mind, but honestly my tests are about as close as you can get for just testing the engine itself. For those of you wondering why I'm using NOS during these tests, it's because that's how we race. Almost no one races with no NOS. I just wanted the results to most closely represent a real in-game race scenario. To balance the NOS for each test, however, I have tested it on each motor at the exact same points in each race every single time. Consistency and accuracy were definitely my top 2 priorities in doing this, so I also ran each race 2 or more times to make sure my driving skills weren't affecting the outcome too much. And when I say 2 or more times, that is 2 or more times per motor. If I had a bad lap, went into the dirt, or hit a barrier, I instantly restarted the race. I continued to do this until I ran 3 clean laps in a row. Again, like the other videos, I only recorded the time if I had a super clean race, and no, the background game footage is not my tests. Alright, as of right now, the 488 Pista has 8 different motor options, 3 V8s, a V10, 2 V12s, a flat 6, and a hybrid V8. Selecting the motor with the highest horsepower has proved to be a bad strategy in this game, as most of the cars I've tested have faster times with a motor that is slightly less horsepower than the maximum. Not that horsepower is the only factor in speed, but I know it's a strategy that most people take when selecting an engine, because it's the one metric that we can all relate to and understand. That being said, this 488 Pista was no exception to that rule. The 2 motors with the highest potential horsepowers did not run the fastest times on either of the courses I tested. Let's go ahead and take a look at the course area first. The top performing motor was the hybrid V8 with a time of 2 minutes and 57 seconds, with the rest of the field struggling to keep up. The 7.0 V12, 6.2 V8, and the 710 horsepower 3.9 V8 were all within a half second of each other, but not anywhere close to the hybrid V8. All 4 of the top 4 motors, when fully built, had 1200 horsepower, so again, there is no clear favorite when looking just at the horsepower itself. For some reason, the hybrid V8 performed very well, and not only did it perform well, but it felt faster. It felt faster out of the corners, it felt faster on the straightaways, and it just overall felt much faster than the other engines. The other engines all felt kind of the same, and their times on Arian definitely represented that. They were all within a second and a half of each other. All 7 of the other motors within a second and a half of each other. Now that we know that the hybrid motor was the fastest for Arian, let's see how the Ferrari 488 Pista stacks up against the other cars in the top 20 for Arian. Keep in mind that this top 20 is just for the cars that I've tested. And take a look at that. 7 out of the 8 motors posted times in the top 20 for Arian, with the hybrid motor earning a position in the top 5 as the 5th spot. So far, it's the only car that's been able to run a time fast enough to break into the top 5, which has been dominated by the 911 RSR. And knowing what a beast the RSR is, this is actually really surprising. Alright, moving on to the second course, Aardvark. Once again, the hybrid V8 engine blew away the competition, winning by more than 4 seconds. All the other times were within a second of each other, and again, that's exactly what it felt like. The hybrid motor felt fast and zippy, and the rest of the motors all felt the same. I like when there's a definitive winner like this. It's very obvious that the hybrid V8 is the fastest setup for this 488 Pista, which is a bit unfortunate because it actually will set you back $605,000. Let's take a look now at how the 488 Pista stacked up against other cars in the top 20 for Aardvark. All 8 motors made the top 20. 4 of which were actually in the top 10. Honestly, this is pretty impressive. This car is definitely one of the fastest in the game, and rightfully so considering what you have to do to unlock it. I would argue that it should be the fastest car in the game, but maybe with proper live tuning I can run it slightly faster. Now these engine videos do take time to make, but I'm definitely not done making them. I do, however, work a full-time job outside of YouTube, so putting out more than 1 engine video per week is a bit tough for me. That being said, I do plan to do at least 1 per week, maybe more if I have time, so if you have a particular car that you want me to test, please drop it in the comments and I'll add it to my list. Hopefully this has helped you out in some way. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.